PR Connections Radio presents.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Cozy Up and Pay Attention, Season 2. If you're looking at my face, it's probably Tuesday. It better be Tuesday, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We have another wonderful guest. This one has tackled a set of twins at one time. And if you would kindly take a deep breath and let it out slow. We'll be right back.
Cozy Stone is a multi-talented comedian extraordinaire who has a real lust for life. She also combines humor and motivation, where she is known as a humorvational speaker. Her youthful ways and positive light make her a beacon for those of all ages. Cozy has lived a remarkable life that has paved the way for so many. She had the longest-running open mic venue of 11 years at Tommy Rockers in Vegas, called Cozy's Comedy Corner, through which she introduced many up-and-coming comedians. Before going into comedy, she was one of the first female personal trainers and one of the top fitness trainers in the world. She has trained many greats such as Billie Jean King, Roberta Flack, Andrew Young, Ed Bradley, CCH Pounder, Al Pacino, and Earl Monroe. As a former competitive bodybuilder, she also owned a bodybuilding gym for women over 40 in Los Angeles for several years. She has worked in top positions for HBO, Playboy, and Tony Robbins. She also enjoys volunteer work, dedicating time to the New York Foundling Hospital and babies with AIDS. Cozy Stone has a message that shouldn't be missed.
Dana, would you please bring me my lovely guest for the day, Miss Lorraine Castillo? Good afternoon, lovely lady.
Good afternoon, Cozy.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Well, good. Before we get into digging into your business, I'd like to tell the audience every week that though there are lots of books on the shelf for parenting, there are not all of the best practices and policies for your particular child. DNA changes all of those book rules and what you want to teach and impart to your child. We do know the other thing that there's no such thing as a perfect parent. And just as importantly, this show does not do any parent shaming. We promote parents. We market parents. We celebrate parents who are doing their job. I had a lady say to me yesterday, well, Cozy, I really don't think it's a job because you don't get paid. No, the reality is the payoff is in them growing up to be responsible adults and being a responsible citizen in society. All pay doesn't come in the form of a dollar. So I didn't stop her when she said it. I said, all right, that's your opinion. Yeah, that's not true. It is the one of, if not the hardest job it's got to be in the world, no matter what race, religion, nationality, color, parenting is. Wow. And you, my darling, God blessed you with 2 at once, which I would imagine was a good thing in case you wanted to. Right?
Yeah.
So let's start backwards before we go forward. Where were your parents born, raised? Where did they meet? And how old was your mom when she had her first child?
Well, both my parents were born in Los Angeles, and they really met in East Los Angeles. They grew up together, and back in their days, they all grew up on the block. They grew up in the same house. Same high school and elementary. So they just knew of each other, and they eventually met. And my mom got pregnant, I believe, at 19. She had her first 19 or 20.
All right, both Los Angeles, and he was 19 or 20.
Yeah, they were both 19 or 20 years old. They dated very briefly. It wasn't like they dated years, got engaged. It was more like they dated and they wanted to get married. So my dad asked my grandfather for his hand or my mom's hand in marriage, and they got married.
And did they stay married?
Yeah, actually, we just celebrated about a week or so ago their 50th wedding anniversary. Yeah.
You know what's interesting, And I think it has a lot to do with the sign of the times. I've had lots of people on here whose parents met in high school, met as teenagers from the neighborhood. Their brothers played with their sisters, da da da. And these are long time marriages. And I believe it's because they didn't have as much distraction. The word love probably has changed in Webster's dictionary 10,000 times since even the 40s or 50s, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they meant it. They meant that they were going to be not just husband and wife, they were going to be partners. I even had two couples so far on here that said to each other when they got married, they looked at each other and said, divorce is not an option. That's a heck of a way. That goes beyond till death do us part.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so far it's working. Both of these people have been married 30 some years. So let's get to Lorraine. So I know you're born in LA. Where was your husband born? Where did you guys meet? And how old were you before you got married or had your first children?
So I was born in Los Angeles. He was born in Mexico City, but moved to LA at 3. So he grew up in Los Angeles as well.
Okay.
We actually met out here in Las Vegas after I got out of high school. So we were together, and then we got married when I was like 21, 22. And then we didn't have our first child until 29. Well, I was 29.
Right. And how long did you date before you got married?
We were dating for maybe about 2 years.
All right. So that's enough time to get to know the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
So I like to ask my guests, men or women, when you either saw him or got to know him, Lorraine, was it his beauty, his brains, or his brawn that most attracted to you? And then to follow up to marry him and have kids with him. Which one of those assets, if not all three of them? Well, go ahead and tell it. Go ahead and tell it. Is he fine?
I plead the fifth. Can we just skip that one altogether?
No. We cannot skip that one.
I think at the time I was so young too, really didn't date or know about dating. Like, I think today's generation, young girls are really aware about dating and red flags and what to look for and what not to look for, and just more open to dating. When I was growing up, I really wasn't that type of just a dater, so for me, I really didn't know what a true partner was. So at the time, I think our lifestyles, I just got caught up in our lifestyles of having a good time and going out all the time. So really just
Lorraine, stop. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is probably, you're the first one who's trying not to answer this question. Here's the thing about all of us. One of the things that usually when we're attracted to someone, it's that you look at him. Most of when we say, oh, he's fine, right? She's fine. Yeah. She's hot. He's hot. Lorraine, was he hot?
No.
Okay. Was he muscular?
No. My parents said, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Okay. No. We're down to the very last one. He had brains and some personality.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. and that's wonderful, because most of us get hung up on the face. He's cute. She's cute.
Well,
that's okay.
My next time around, it'll be different.
No. I'm sure you've got handsome kids, and that's all that matters.
Oh, yeah, my kids are adorable.
All right, so you get the news. When you were a little girl, did you aspire to be a mom and have a family? Have kids?
Yeah, I would say yes. Like, I grew up really close to my parents. I grew up really close with my family. We all our cousins and everything, we were all very close and hung out a lot. So for me, it just felt right that I would have kids and kind of be one of those active moms and have the baseball team and going out to parks and barbecues. So yeah, I definitely see myself.
So here's the question that follows that. When you heard the word, so you're married, you guys have planned your family. Once you're married, I put it under the plan. I had someone last week, oh, we didn't plan it. Were you married? Yes, well, it was planned. And you heard the news. I don't know if you peed on a stick because people are peeing on sticks and we weren't peeing on sticks when I was growing up. So when the doctor said to you, Miss Perez, you are pregnant, did you feel fear or fantasy?
I would say fantasy because although it was planned, I did in vitro. So I technically didn't do any of the peeing on any stick.
Okay.
It was more ultrasounds and blood work.
But even with that, you said it was still fantasy. The reality of what it entailed did not kick in when you heard those words.
I was very optimistic because when I started that journey, I just had a feeling that it was going to work out, that I just knew. So I don't want to say maybe a fantasy, but I was very optimistic about it.
Okay. All right. So did your husband hang in there long enough to parent with you as a partner, or did you parent their 13 pretty much alone?
I would say, so we didn't get divorced until the kids were 8, but I was still parenting alone. I was parenting alone. So I would say, yes, I've been parenting alone since they were born.
Okay. Do you have family here in Vegas as well?
I do. I have a huge family here in Vegas.
Okay. So you had a huge support system. You had babysitters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. You didn't do it by yourself. That's important. So here's a question. You guys were together 8 years. You knew each other from the neighborhood. This should be an easy question for you, Lorraine. How do I want to ask you? I'm going to go this way with you. What was different from both of your rearings that you had to adjust under one roof? Or you can take the question and say, what did you both have in common that you gave to your children?
That's like a hard question.
You'll answer it. Hold that. Usually that particular question comes back through some of the other questions you ask. It always comes back to rear its ugly head. So let me ask you this other question, and then we're going to get into yours. Your house only, your parents only. What are some of the words of wisdom that your parents shared with you that you are now sharing with your sons?
Respect is a huge one. Respect and love and family values. Like your family's important. Those are the 3 I would say really stick out to me the most.
Okay. All right. You're over the hump, Lorraine. I can feel you sweating over there.
I am.
Oh, I know. Come on, take a deep breath. Let it out.
So nervous.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Now, these are all your questions in your life, so you should not be nervous. The first question that you gave me to ask you was, what would you say makes a good parent?
Okay. So being a good parent, I think just showing up, like being there, not giving up. Parenting can be very challenging, and there's times that you just want to say, I give up. I'm tired. This is too much for me to handle. And some parents do. Some parents give up and they don't show up, and they don't show up for them when they need them. So I think regardless of how we show up, showing up, I think makes you a good parent.
The next question that you chose, explain an unexpected challenge as a parent. Explain an unexpected challenge.
Okay, so as a parent, people say, have kids, it's wonderful, it's such a blessing, which it is, but they don't talk about the challenge of how emotionally draining it is. every decision as a parent, as a mom, whether it's my career, who I date, who I'm friends with, any decision I make, I always look at how will this affect my children, not in today's, like in the moment, but long term too. And I know people say you can't predict the future, you shouldn't worry about it, but as parents, that's what we do. We worry. We always think, okay, is this the right choice? And I think a lot of people don't talk about that. And I think that was the biggest challenge for me.
Right. And again, what you just said just bears repeating. Once you're in the throes of it, you're okay. And that to go back a moment when I say fear of fantasy, it's all fearful, and the fantasy goes out the door once it becomes a reality. Your next question is: you're going to pick a C word that you practice the most. Did you practice choices, consequences, consistency, or compassion?
So on this one, I think I've used all three, because when they're babies, you show a lot of compassion. And as they become toddlers, you show more of consequences and choices. And then as teenagers, it's more consistency as well. So I think each stage of parenting, you adjust. And I've used all three. And I think I continue to use all three.
Right. Right. And that is the answer. Uh, each one of these words will always, until they leave your home and have their own families, will pretty much leave your home, and they're full-fledged adults taking care of themselves, paying their own taxes, their own mortgage.
Right.
One of these words, you probably right now, you'll get off our show and you'll say, I do that more than the other. That's why I chose these four words. Every parent has one of these four that they yes, the others are incorporated, but one out of these is one you do more than the others. But that's okay. I don't want you sweating again. You can't have Lorraine sweating. That would just break my heart. The next question, you're almost finished here. The next question is, what did you think, and you sort of gave the answer, but now you have to expound on it, is the hardest thing about parenthood? You just said a little bit, but there's got to be more.
There has to be more.
Oh, sure.
There's
I'm not a parent, Lorraine, and I know there's more.
So I think another challenging part is the teenage years, that I'm raising teenagers right now. And everything I do is either lame or annoys them. And that's very hard, because just about a year ago, they were hugging me and saying how much they love me. And now they're like, whatever, mom, don't say that. That's annoying. And then you try to be cool, because I am pretty cool. Like my friends think I'm cool. And so I'm not cool to them. So that's hard.
You won't be cool again until they're in their 20s. Early 20s, you become cool again. But anyone out there, folks, she's got 13-year-old twin boys. We're not going to talk about the soap. We're not going to talk about the lotion. That's just already understood. But 13, probably 12, but 12, 13 till I'd say 18.
Yeah.
You are in for your money's worth. And this is not in the books. And again, back to that book. These are your kids. They're their friends, your environment, their influences, their interests. And one of the things, you can tell them, Cozy told me to tell you this. I'm not trying to be cool to you. I am trying to be your parent. And don't try to be cool. This is the least years that you want to be cool. Because the other part of these particular years, so they are getting ready to go into high school? Are they in their last year of
last year of junior high?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for the parents, unlike yourself and all the others who've been on this show, we said at the beginning of the show who chose to give up and not put their all in it. Your kids are now getting ready to go to high school with these kids. And these are going to be the kids that say, oh man, you don't have to go to class. Yeah, man, try this. Or, you don't have to. No, you do have to. So I am getting ready to work with teenage girls 14 to 22.
Mm.
And I'm going in there with my boxing gloves on.
Oh, for sure.
Come on, little girls. Let's
Yeah.
do this dance. I'm not doing this with you. First of all, I don't have to. I'm doing it because I love kids and I've been dying to find a program. And God blessed me with one last week that I found on Google. The second phone call I made, they took me. And there's that respect that they are going to try you, right? As you said, talking back, it's not allowed. Um, all I say is wow. And again, it could be a boy and a girl. It doesn't matter if it's two girls, two boys. All that matters is they're teenagers. I think there should be an island. Remember Fantasy Island? There should be an island for teenagers from 13 to 18. And everybody gets to send them over there.
Yeah.
Right? You can call, we can do Zoom, but oh, please keep these animals out of my
It
house.
is crazy.
Right? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And again, they're kids. I mean, they're friends. So because we are a little ahead of time, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to stop and ask you, what do you know their friends? Do you know their friends' parents?
No, honestly, this part, like this junior high was definitely a different pace for all three of us. Um, when they were in elementary, I knew all the moms. We had our mom group and we would all hang out and have play dates, and it was great. Everybody had birthday parties, we would go. Junior high came and it was a whole different story. But I tried to like at least talk to my kids and find out who they are, their names, their best friends. And so I try as much as I can without them being like, stop asking me questions. Cause it's more like you have to ask indirectly, just to kind of maybe get conversation going. So I try.
Oh, babe. What is it, Yoda? You don't try, you do.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't
yes
give
and no.
your try not to. These are your kids. Try not to give them that much credit, Lorraine. Don't let them get so far away from your leash that by the time you try to rein them in, it may be too late. Asking them questions is your job. You're not, you're going to love them, and they probably should know you're always going to love them. But if you don't know what they're doing from this point forward, that is not good. Those
No,
secrets.
I know what they're doing. I just don't go and ask like all their friends. Like I know they're close friends, but not all their friends.
Well, no. Well, again,
And it's
and do you
crazy
know
because
that?
the internet, like the phone, you could find out a whole lot.
Oh, you look at their phones.
Absolutely, I spot check them. Yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
have the app on your phone of where they are at all times?
Yeah, their dad has that on their phone.
You don't have it on yours.
No,
Why?
uh, that's the whole part of co-parenting. Sometimes it's a little difficult.
So he's still involved in their lives, and he will play the biggest role because dads aren't trying to be their son's friends. Somehow they're just
Most
not
lovely.
trying to. They're not trying to be their son's friends, and that's the beauty of mother, father, daughter, sons. The father knows what he's thinking. He knows what he's going to do. The mother is always going to always be your baby. Oh, my baby wouldn't do that. Yes, he will. Chances are
Yeah.
they're just growing up. They're trying to find answers. And our job as adults and parents is to, as much as we can, again, nobody gets it perfect, is to try to provide those unasked and unanswered questions before they hit you in the face.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I've been doing this show now almost a year, coming up in August. I don't know. I'm an oldest daughter, oldest child. Yeah, pretty much. My oldest brother was not. And so, without giving birth, as the oldest daughter, I had all the responsibility. And my kid brother is 10 years younger than I am, and have him tell it I did nothing for him, and that's okay because he's 10 years older and he's an ungrateful ingrate if he's listening. Um, but That was my job. It was my responsibility. And I took it seriously and I did it. But once I was done, I promised me, God, and all his disciples, I would never do this again. It's not for me. It's again, it was a lot of work as an older daughter, as my mom's helper. I was part of the team. That's the way to think. Right. But it is oof, I've watched it. And I've worked with children since I was 20 years old, doing volunteer work, sick children, I was speaking in the schools. I like to be around children. First of all, I learn some of these words they use. I do stop and say, what does that mean? I have a girlfriend right now. She's 15. She tells everybody I'm her best friend. It's the cutest thing in the world. I gave her a homework assignment last week to try to speak without saying the word like.
Oh.
This kid can send me to Paris in one sentence.
Oh yeah.
charging her a penny. Let's get to your last question. I want to get off. I want to get you off at the right time. What makes you happy as a parent, Lorraine?
Oh, listening to my boys laugh and talk. I think that's the purest joys when you are sitting down in another room and you hear them getting along and laughing and joking. It's just, that's the highlight.
Are they identical?
Fraternal.
Okay. And what are their names?
Jacob and Louie.
Oh, good. You didn't do Jacob and James and Louie and Larry.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to your fun question.
Okay.
Miss Lorraine, your question that you chose says, would you rather live for a week in the past or a week in the future? Take it away.
Definitely live in the past, a week in the past.
And what particular week would that be, Lorraine?
Oh, there has to be a particular week?
No, I'm just trying. I got 3 minutes here. You're going to use every 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. There's no particular week I would pick. I would probably pick a week that
what age? What age? Is there an age that?
Yeah. I would say 34, 35.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Because you were already a parent at 35.
Yeah, I was already a parent, but I would probably spend a week with my younger brother that passed 5 years ago. So, and my aunt. So just something like that.
All right. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. Your parents met in school, kids from the hood or from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Became friends, got married, still together 50 years later. You met your husband in the neighborhood, in the school. You guys got along, got to know each other for a while before you got married. God blessed you with your vitro twins, so you were able to take care of two birds with one stone. When he and you could not coexist under one roof, he still stayed around to help to co-parent. You are doing a fabulous job of paying attention. Cozy up and pay attention.
Yeah.
Number one rule in life. You are paying attention. You've got a road to toe. I can't imagine me having this show 10 years from now, unless God knows something I don't. I really hope this is on HBO by that time. But if I am, I will have you back when your kids are 23 and find out, all right, Lorraine, are they out of college? Are they in the service? Are they responsible? Are they everything that you pray that you want for them? To be loved, to be smart, to be responsible, to be respectful, to do whatever, quote unquote, the right thing is. There is a right thing for those who don't think there is. And that right thing allows your kid to grow up and be a part of society. Speaking of paying attention, I have 2 self-published books on Amazon's bookshelf called Cozyism, The Art of Paying Attention. And in these books, I have one-liners that is accompanied by a great piece of art. So I'd like to say they're whimsical, they're witty, they're wise, and the comedian in me, they're funny. And I like to say to people, you can take this book and read one page for 10 days, and every time you read that line, you're going to hear and find something different. I love playing with words, and so feel I've done a great job with this book. Folks, if you or anyone you know in Lorraine, you're out and about and have some friends, maybe some parents of your children, ask them if they would like to come on the show and talk about the fabulous job that they're doing and have enjoyed doing by raising their children. Folks, you can find me at cozyupandpayattention@gmail.com. We are on here, unless God knows something I know, I don't, every Tuesday at 2 o'clock from 2 o'clock to 2:30. We're live on Facebook as we speak, and then we will be on YouTube even after I stop breathing. And I think that's pretty cool. I thought she was dead. No, there she is, still running her mouth. So it's the show that'll keep on giving and will go on for an eternity, which I like that part of technology. Sometimes in life, as we live and learn and grow, when we know better, we do better. Lorraine, I am very grateful that you took time from your very busy schedule, and I do really respect how busy you are. It is great seeing you. It's been months. I've been in here for months, and I won't be out anytime soon. So this is how I get to see some of my buddies, and you guys come on. So if you would think of some folks that good parents that are doing, and if they're doing a good job. If they're near your kids and who they are. I would be very grateful if you'd recommend them to me. And in the meantime, folks, have a great afternoon. Be good to each other. And please come back and visit us again next Tuesday, 2 o'clock on Cozy Up and Pay Attention, the Parent Edition.